Hello, everyone. How are you? This is Edna White, and I am so glad you're with me today. Today, we're going to be talking about rentals and how to search. And this is a segment, a two-part segment. One is for renting, and the other is for the possibilities or options to buy. So I'm going to start with renting because so many people have reached out to me to explain the rental process in this particular market because we seem to be having a shortage of inventory, housing and rentals. So we seem to be having a shortage of that. Now, when we say shortage, in this instance, we mean those that have subsidied um, funding, from Section 8, Silo, and different organizations that kind of provide funding for the housing to happen. So for the purposes of this only, I'm going to be talking about and talking to those people who are part of the Section 8 program or part of the DSS, housing allowance, Silo Omnibus program, what else? SSI, SSDI, what else? OTDAs, any of their programs, and any of OMH's programs, anything like that. So I'm going to be talking about the shortage around that. So there is a shortage, I will tell you, of inventory on Long Island. And it's been happening, I want to say, since the pandemic. Everything stopped during the pandemic, and then issues erupted after that of non-payment, and because of the law that was passed for for payment, you could stop payment for the tenant and all this other googly gosh and things that happened kind of in a whole, I guess, domino effect. Okay, so, and I say it like that because if I go through every piece of what really happened, it seems to get overwhelmed, looks like, for now, and what's going to happen in the near future. So the rental shortage on Long Island has been that long in effect. And really, the fact that there are, you can ask as many real estate agents as you want, is still going to say the same thing. They have no rentals, right? And so what do we look at? We look at affordability, and then we look at low income affordability, then we look at purchasing, right? Those are the three components. Low income, affordability, and then affordable, and then buying, okay? Purchase. We look at those three areas. When the market is like it is now, it has to do with availability of housing in the purchasing department first, okay? And the rental department is kind of second. But when there is no inventory for purchase, for those that want to buy, for investors that want to buy, that becomes a really straining issue with Long Island's economy. And it makes it so much harder for Long Islanders to be placed in homes. When we talk about affordability with selling and buying, we are really looking at the burden of the cost of housing on Long Island, which has really gone up increasingly. And the markets, let's just let you know, is the markets fluctuate all the time like this. I saw a time like this in 1999. I saw a time like that. And, there was a time in 1985 this happened. So the cost of housing rose very high, so that um, you know, it was the seller's market, what they call it. So people were selling. In this past pandemic sales rise, there was the issues and the burden of tenants not paying rent during the pandemic, and the landlords were overcome. And the crisis was they wanted to get rid of the property as quickly as possible for as much as they could get. And thus, this pushed the rental crisis, right? So it fell in 2000s, went up, fell in 2005, went up. So it really has its times that the economy kind of presses it. So things that happen to people really have to do with why the housing market goes up and goes down. So the pressure on the landlords, pressures on the owners not being able to work and pay their mortgage has a lot to do why we're in this situation right now, this current market. So this current market now is reflecting high purchase prices, high conditions, high issues with when they're selling with the tenant in there already in place. They're selling as is, they're selling for cash, they're selling in foreclosure, is pressuring the market. So thus, situations now go over from that issue to the rental part. Now, there are apartment complexes that are independent of the housing market. But as I say, the buying and selling housing market now is pushing the rental department. And now what happens with the rentals? They go up because now there's no inventory. So now the rental properties inside of a legal tenement or an apartment building or apartment complex starts to rise. Now, that isn't that it's not affordable, that is in the affordable range. Because if you look at Long Island's affordability, you're looking at people that work, 2 to 3 people that work, let's just say for one bedroom. So you're looking at that affordability rate at 30%, that people that work. Okay, so at that 30%, what they could afford, 3 people fitting in one bedroom, what could they afford? So we're looking at affordability. And right now, it's maybe $100 or $200 lower than the affordability that we see in the market. Now, I'm not talking about low income. I'm talking about affordability because we have a lot of complexes. We do have corporate complexes like Avalon, like what's the other one? I forget the other one. The other one is taking over Long Island. I forgot. It just went out of my mind. And we do have those. So those are corporate. So they're set by the standards of affordability of working individuals at a certain amount. So if Long Island says the household rate is 90,000, then guess what? 90,000, 30% of 90,000, that's what they're going to go by. And that's the affordable area. So there are complexes going up with the ability to have, now the third part is low income. So those are housings that are put up that have like a variable of 30%, 50%, 80% of your income to go towards it, and or Section 8 or any subsidy form that matches whatever the rent is at. So those are the 3 areas we're looking at in this market. Now we want to talk about only one area, low income housing. We want to talk about the ability to rent low income housing. And I'm not saying it like it's a a bad area. I'm saying that's the bracket that you belong in according to the housing market. So when you scream and yell about affordability, stop it. That's not your area, because when you're getting subsidy, you're only using 30% of your income, and your income has to be a certain level. It's not at 90. So if you have to really pay close attention to the real estate market to really understand how these three things work together and how they all like kind of press each other, so that you are looking for the right property that you need. So the housing cost burden on Long Island is adjusted with inflation. And the median, I just told you about the median income for Long Island. It has fallen a little since 2000, but not much. And the median housing cost has increased 25, 30%, okay? So this housing cost burden is defined by the households that are spending more than 30% of their income on housing costs, whether rent, mortgage, or upkeep, whatever it is. So that's how the housing cost burden, or what it looks like, or what it sounds like, because I'm talking right now. So when you work with that, then you know, okay, why am I telling you all this? I know you're probably saying, fast forward, because I want to get to, the low income, and I want to be able to search for housing. Without knowing all of this, you cannot know the rest of it. You need to know what bracket you fit in. So you need to know, number one, what your income is. What is it? What is your income? Let's sit down and calculate that. So what does it look like? It looks like anything that looks like income that you spend, what it looks like. Count it up. Now, for those who are getting any kind of income, any kind, whether it be food stamps, whether it be, I don't know, child support, alimony, whether it be work, part-time work, contracted work, any income that you get, that's your income, right? Calculate that and know where you are. Then if you have a Section 8 voucher or a housing allowance or anything like that, any kind of voucher or subsidy coming in to help you with housing, that's a separate calculation. So let's count up all of our income. That's one thing you have to do. The first thing is to count up all your income, total it up, and then plus add your subsidy. So you're going to put a separate section for Section 8. So if you do it per month, right, then you times it by 12. That number you will see is your median income. So you look at it and you say, okay, this is where I fall. So say if I calculate everything up and it comes to 27,000 is low income. If I'm going to, let's just say 90,000 is affordable, right? I'm going to say your family income is $90,000 per year. You are now in the affordability area, right? And if you look at, above the median for, rentals, you can then probably be in the purchasing area, which is usually, about 90, no, not less than that, actually, about 45, 50,000 per year and above. You can either rent, if that's your choice, or you can purchase something, which is, the bank will loan you 3 times your yearly income. Okay? So you see where you lie, and then you make the decision, if I fall in any of these categories, do I want to really do that? What's renting versus buying? What is that? Or what's my long-term desire? Well, I really want to move to Hawaii, and I just want to rent for now because this job is not ready to transfer me to Hawaii yet. Those are the decisions you have to kind of make. Now, when we're talking on the end of low income, right? And so low income, and we're really working with that, is we have to calculate how much money we have, how much money we're making. And we have to know that. That's really important because I believe in everyone being on the same playing field as everyone else. So if a company, right? If a company says to you, I need to have your credit, I need to have your references, I need to have, what is the one more thing they need? And income, right? You need to know that. So I really believe that everyone should be in the same playing field, regardless of where their subsidy is coming from, regardless if it's cash or subsidy, let's say it like that. So I really do believe that. Now, if you have credit that needs to be worked on, before you make a move from where you are to somewhere else, make sure that's done, because you will go up against walls. And I just truly do believe that if you are meeting what the minimum requirements are, you won't have to worry about if it's Section 8, if it's not Section 8. When you come to the table and you're not meeting the minimal requirements, regardless, they can actually say, hey, I have someone here that has a 700 credit score, nothing late, and and they do have Section 8. They can always one-up you. It's just like that in the purchasing field, the same way. And it's not about being Section 8. It's about who's the better candidate. And that's when you're looking for homes, rentals, let's say rentals, when you have subsidy, you have to come that way. You have to come to the table with something that a landlord would want, because it's their investment. They're trusting you to keep their investment. And that's what they're really looking at. They're not looking at, subsidy. Yes, it may have some bad connotations, but when you come to the table with your credit together and your references, not your friend next door, but powerful references and written out, ready to go, that they don't have to call everybody all over the place. You have all of their information, in a nice letter form, and then you have your credit. You know what your credit score is. You don't. Uncertainty breeds uncertainty. If you're uncertain, how do you think the landlord's going to feel? Very uncertain. So you don't want to come to the table like that at all. Okay, so you want to be certain that, okay, if I put my name on the Section 8 list and they said it's a 2-year wait, guess what I'm doing in 2 years? I'm not fooling around. I am getting with someone trustworthy, or I'm doing it myself, or I'm sitting down at the library, purchasing a credit book, which mine is in the library. You can go get, because it's there, and you can go through your credit little by little by just ordering it and doing it yourself. Take some time to do the right things, to be a good tenant. Take some time to do that. And in your waiting for your subsidy to come through, and you're waiting while you're looking and you're not having any results, focus that energy into something that's productive, meaning trying to find the answers for your credit. If you have judgments, write out a statement, and this is what happened, and write a true heartfelt statement in your own writing, or type it out and sign it. But make sure, it's heartfelt, it's thought out, and it's written to the attention of the landlord. If you have somebody used your credit, and you reported it, make sure you have a fraud notice so that they see, I'm a victim of fraud. Make sure you have that with your application, with your credit report. Make sure you have that available. All the energy that you're spending waiting and waiting, you need to spend some time getting your credit in order. getting your references together, and also making sure you know your income and having it like literally put it in like on a sheet of paper and say, what's your name, almost like a resume with your name and all your contact information. Here's my income. My income is verifiable through this. And you just, go, list out. And that's what you really need to do. I can't tell you how many clients I work with and they want me to perform miracles. And I can't. I can help you, I can assist you, give you guidance, but I can't make things disappear. I can't make things happen overnight, because I'm gonna tell you, all of this does not happen overnight. You may give your, even if you get a rental and you're in the running and there's 5 people and you're in the running, you still have to wait to figure out if he's gonna accept you. It's not, no, you're not gonna be, oh, you're the best person in the world. They're going to review your offer just with everybody else. The same thing that happens in the buying and selling world is the same thing that happens in the rental world. You're not told you're the only person until somebody better walks in, and be like, oh, this person is better than this one. I think I'll take this one. And, and yes, you'll be ghosted by the landlord. You'll be like, oh, well, I did say, what I shouldn't have said was, this house is yours. What I really meant was, you're the first person that came. I value other people. And when they say that, make sure your application shines. Make sure there's no empty spots. And make sure you know your old landlord's phone number truthfully. Make sure you know his first and last name. Make sure you do not leave any holes or scratch anything out. Because if you do, again, uncertainty breeds uncertainty. So what happens? You're not certain, the landlord's not certain, and he will toss your application and your consideration with the other 5 people. So it will be 4 people after that. So you really want to make sure that things are aligned. If you know me, I have tenant awareness, tenant preparedness, excuse me, and a credit repair book. I am more than happy to give any of you and send it to you via ebook only. And that way you can go through it and you actually can write in it and you can do some of the things you need to correct your own credit. Now, if you're in the elderly space, I suggest, probably no, not too many elderly have like that kind of stuff going on. But yeah, you can always hire somebody who can I say, who's reputable, that you've seen results from people, you've gotten the, the testimonials from people, and you've spoken to them, you know them, and or get one referral. Who do you recommend if you're working a real estate agent? Who do you recommend? So that they know, your team, you're putting your own team together to kind of help your housing search. So now we have everything in a nutshell, real small, real cute, that you are now, you're ready to go. So now you're going to start looking. Okay. Again, we're thinking about this market we're in right now on Long Island. Should you want to stay on Long Island, I will tell you it's going to be tough. I will tell you it's going to be hard, but it can be done, but it's a long process. So you have to be prepared to either get an extension, right? Or you have to be prepared for other options. And that means moving out of Long Island only to come back in when it's better. So you're going to have to look at that versus losing your Section 8 or your subsidy or whatever it is. You're going to have to really think about, can my family thrive if I lose this subsidy? Or could I take an opportunity to relocate somewhere else just for a little while, see how I like it, suss the area out for my children's school, suss the area out for my transfer of my job if necessary, or if other jobs are in the area, if necessary, locate a real estate agent in that area, work with somebody while you're doing your credit, send everything over, just like someone would relocating, buy a house, same way. So you would get all of that done, but you have to think through, because there are options for you. There are lots of options. I don't suggest anybody moving at this point in state, or from one state to the other, especially here right now on Long Island, because it's a low, what did I say it was? There's no inventory. So there's no inventory. So I would suggest not to. Don't do it right now. Stay where you are till it gets better, blah, blah, blah. Or, but I don't suggest anybody leaving out of their home unless they have to, and or coming here and losing their porting their voucher or their housing allowance or any subsidy here at this time, because it's going to be a very long wait for low-income properties and low-income housing to be built and formed. So that's my little spiel on that. So if you have any questions at all about the process, because it is going to be long. It's going to be long. I think real estate market research, I think it said, this will not be blowing over for a good while. So they are now seeing commercial properties in the buying and selling end. They see them now coming to foreclosure. And it takes, if the commercials, like, commercial buildings like laundromats, storefronts, they're coming into foreclosure right now. So if they're seeing that now, because they take the commercial properties take a long time to close sometimes, depending on the size. If they see that happening, then the market is just going to either rise or literally come to a halt and stay there for longevity. So they don't see it happening this year. So if you have a Section 8 voucher, if you have a housing allowance, my suggestion to you is don't lose it. Port 30 minutes out of Long Island. No, I'm sorry, not 30 minutes, an hour to 2 hours out of Long Island. Upstate, very open for properties. And other areas surrounding Long Island, very, very open for properties in New York State. Then it'd be easier for you to port back in to the county and then to the town. But that's my suggestion to you. I know it's not something everybody wants to hear at this time, but that's the prediction for the market. Another thing that's coming down the pipeline is that there is a bill that's being, I guess, circulated to have homeowners rent their basements out. So if they want to rent it out legally, rent it out without having to go through a permit process and all of that stuff, they're looking into that. But mostly downstairs apartments in large houses privately usually are, or should be, have a rental permit that allows them to have, in a 1-bedroom, it's usually like 2 people. And that's inside of a house. In, apartment complex, for 1-bedroom, it could be up to 3. And sometimes, 3, and sometimes 4. In a 2-bedroom, you can have 5 people. So just make sure that you're seeing the rental permit or even asking about the rental permit before you even go. Ask questions. Don't just get excited about, you've got an apartment that somebody says, yes, it's available. So on the conversation on the phone, yes, it's available. You now have to start asking conscious questions. And the main question you shouldn't be asking is Section 8, because that's against the law to ask. So you should be asking conscious questions like, where's the apartment located if you don't know it's already on the first floor, if it's in a complex? What side of the building it is on? Does it have a sidewalk? Is there stairs? Am I in the first, second, or third floor? Depends, and those things like that. How far is the store from there if you don't drive? Or even if you drive, how far is the store? So you can kind of break the ice and ask questions about the locale. Then you start asking about, do you know the square footage of the bedrooms? They should know. Most very good real estate agents know, because they go in and measure everything, and that's kind of like making sure things are done in timely fashion. So they should know the square footage of a bedroom, or ask the question, can the master bedroom fit a queen size, whatever size bed you have? And if they say no, thank you very much for your time. This house won't be suitable for me. Or if you don't have furniture, you can ask, and you can still ask for the square footage and know what a full size. But make sure you know if you need a full size bed or a queen size. And then don't go there and expect, oh, I can't put size, but you don't have furniture. But you have to ask the questions before going there, before wasting your time, before wasting the agent's time. Conscious, open-ended questions, asking them about the property that you need to know, and then saying, when are you available to show it to me? They're then going to ask you, what's your income? Well, if you did what I told you at the beginning, you would say, oh, it's this amount. Now, how do landlords figure that you could afford the house? It's usually 3 times what you make. So, okay, so if the rent is, okay, I'm sorry, not 3 times what you make. Sorry about that. It's usually, if the rent is $1,000, it's 3 times that. So you got to be making $3,000 a month for $1,000. Again, 30%. Okay, 30%. Right, there you go. So you really got to think like that. You got to think that, and the other thought, they think, if you make $3,000, you definitely have $1,000 to pay the rent. The rest is for expenses, whatever you got there. So that $1,000 is covered. Okay. If you're using the subsidy, that's usually their thought pattern goes that way. So if you have a subsidy, you break that down, it's 2 times the amount. So if you're getting a $1,000 house, you have to be making $2,000 a month with all the income that you put down plus the subsidy. Does it divide by 12? Does it equal $2,000? If it does, you're in good shape. Then all the other prerequisites happen: credit, references, all of that. Okay, so you want to make sure that those are aligned. So having conscious questions about locale, asking pertinent information about room sizes, where the bathrooms are, steps, location, sidewalks, how far it is from stores, all of that. Questions like that build a rapport with the landlord, opens the door, breaks the ice, so that you're getting the answers to questions you need. And then they can then ask their question, well, are you in Section 8? If they ask that question first, you ask them, may I ask you some questions, please? And I was like, yeah. Okay, what does the room look like? And you start asking the questions you need to put your furniture in, or not put your furniture in, whichever one. But you start to ask questions that are important to you, and you ask a lot of them. Usually have 3 or 4 questions that are important to you. Is there a basement? Is there stairs? Is there, what side of the house is the apartment? Is it first, second, or third floor that I'm looking at? Where's, how's the bathroom situated? Is it larger for, large enough for a wheelchair? Is the bedrooms, large enough for full-size beds, twin beds? However you want to set your house up, envision it that way and ask the questions that are important to you. Okay, so then once you do that and you get your foot in the door and you do get the appointment, you don't walk out saying, I want this apartment. You come full, ready, like I go get a listing for a house. I come with the signed contract and I don't leave without it. So you got to come with your completed application. If it's not already, or it's already done and it's online, you print out a copy of the completion, right? With your name on it, you complete it as you submit it all in. Then if they want a copy of your credit report, or they're going to do one, you have the money to apply, get your credit report, whatever it is, or you give them the full credit report, not just the screenshot of Credit Karma, the numbers, the full report. That means every page that has to do with your report, not the screenshot. Okay, and that way they can review it. Okay, then you're going to have a little, even if you scribble it yourself or type it out, with the date, a long line that has the property on there, and I am interested, I am submitting my application for this house on whatever date it is, and you give it to that person, and I'm submitting it, and could you sign this that you received my application? And that, they probably will, or they probably won't. Then you write that information. So when can I get back in touch with you? As soon as they say that, you write it on the application when you can get back to them. All right. And you're submitting, giving them all your paperwork that they received your paperwork. All right. And that doesn't mean to give them a Section 8 voucher. Doesn't mean that. It means you're submitting an application. The only time you submit your housing packages or whatever you have to submit is when you're meeting with the landlord, the real estate agent, and yourself, and you're getting ready to sign, yes, I want you to be my tenant. And you will see a lot of other papers involved in that. So that's the gist of the rental picture for 2023. All right. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to ask me. My name is Edna White. My real estate is called Your Home Realty Services. And I might be in your neighborhood real soon. You never know. Look out for me. So right now we have home office, and we are looking for other agents to join on board for home office and to build out. So thank you very much for being attentive at this time, and I'll look forward to the next one. Thanks so much. Bye now.